Hello, hi there. Of course, I'm talking to you. So, nice of you to stop by, and I hope you would remain to listen. So, today I want to talk to you about honesty and integrity, more so focused on the areas that you should be mindful of if you are one striving for honesty and integrity, and some things possibly you might want to correct. Now, if you have turned a new leaf, you had a past life, hopefully not so bad. Of course, there are different levels of reputations in the past. You may want to look into exposure, and maybe you might want to quantify the levels of exposure. And now I'm just speaking to character, not necessarily offenses that might be so grievous to forgive, right? So if you have, let's say you were given to sexual immorality, or you were known for lying, or known for, I would say, theft, stealing, okay? You may want to, on this new journey, understanding that you have a bad reputation and there'll be people in that time period that know you. So you might want to look into character exposure in the sense that if you are sincerely, and I know there'll be people that might use this in a manipulative fashion. As a matter of fact, we have books that have been written on manipulation where you where you feign or pretend to be really guilty about the past. Meanwhile, you still verily you are still the same person in essence. But I'm speaking from an honest point of view. If you really intently want to become this new and improved person, you want to look into revealing some of the, I would say, things that might taint you, or things that people might reveal about you which you were indeed in the past. Now, in saying this, be mindful. You might not want to reveal certain things that might be sensitive, or I would say incriminating. It's for you to weigh. But in essence, if we're just focusing on character, or I would say in quotes, minor behavioral, shameful behaviors, you might want to come clean on that. Okay, so you want to weigh the levels of sensitivity while taking this advice into cognizance. Secondly, you want to be aware of gifts, because gifts corrupt good judgment. So if you want to stand firm, incorruptible, and to have that reputable honor, be mindful of these two. Hi there. So I want to talk to you about something. I can just hope that you will spare me a few minutes of your time. And I really want to speak to the conscience of humans around the world. That's my purpose. I don't know how far my reach is. I'm new here, but I'm hoping that you will listen. Now I want to speak about hypocrisy and cruelty. Okay? And these two are going to be fusing themselves into one. What am I trying to say? I want to speak more so on the subject of animal cruelty. Now, I know this is addressed by many organizations, institutions, and even governments, but in all honesty, these are completely hypocritical. Yes. Because how can you say you care about animals, and the one that looks and is able to comprehend and reasons like you is not cared about? Aren't you a hypocrite? So if you truly care about animals and you're really focused about the safety of them, not saying that you shouldn't be, shouldn't you be focused on the safety of your fellow human? Why is it that some humans are treated less than others? Why is it that within specific settings, a certain group of humans are treated less? And we find this in different situations, different vicinities. So if we are truly so caring, if we are truly so thoughtful towards animals, wouldn't one that reasons just like you that you feel that you are high up there, or a high species, a high class, or maybe a higher race, you think to yourself, don't you think that if you can show some level of humanity, strangely we say humanity in this case towards animals, but the very humans themselves, you have no thought or care for them. Aren't you a hypocrite? And now, since this is all about animals, I think it would be unfair if I don't address the issues. Or I think it would be unfair if I don't address the issue of animals. In terms of cruelty, yes, animals should be well taken care of. As a matter of fact, you find in the Bible that a merciful man is known by how he treats lesser creatures. Right? And many times when you look at the children of Israel, you find that the Most High actually commands us that we should actually leave a little grapes for the stranger. That means when you go to the farm, you don't take all of your grapes. You leave some for the stranger, and you treat the stranger like your brother. But we are such hypocrites. Systems are such hypocrites that we punish the very ones that look like us. I have once mentioned that I am a man of God, and now I know, careful now, I know that hearing this might sound irritating to you. Yes, because we have many men of God that have deceived the flock, that have set up a standard that is so shameful, so much so that the regular man who believes in nothing has a better and higher morality than the so-called man of God. Yes. Now, in saying that I'm a man of God, what I'm saying in essence that I'm a man striving at the standards or to uphold the standards of the Most High God. Yes. I'm not a hypocrite. So, definitely I have done things in the past that I'm not proud of. Maybe it might not be so grave, but if I'm to really exemplify what it means to be righteous, then I should constantly purge myself of this so-called taint of iniquity. Yes, that should be the ideal. That is what it means to be a man of God, having a conscience of washing away continually, even when you fall. Pastors out there have bastardized the name or the title, so much so that it's so shameful to even say that. You find that the pastors themselves and the so-called men of God are the very people doing the evil. And the Most High says in His word that they shall have the greater part of judgment. Those who have deceived the flock, those who have cursed those from the outside, to look in and say, no, I can't be here. This is madness. So much foolishness in the churches today. Only a few are even reputed for good. Only a few, as it says in Revelation, only a few have a small taint and are willing to work on that taint, because Christ, Yeshua, He identified those issues. Those 7 churches, they had some level of impurity, which they say, okay, for this one impurity, if you do not change this impurity, then they would witness judgment. Now that is at least a church with a good foundation, that only one item was lacking. But we have churches, pastors, boldly walking in sin, making a mockery of the standards of God, without no fear, without no fear of judgment. They think they will stand forever, and they think they will escape the fire and the worms. You're a pastor? Make full reproof of thy ministry. Hey you. Yes you. Of course. I'm back again. Or maybe this might be your first time seeing me. And if it is, I beg that you take some time to listen to what I have to say. Today I want to speak to you about a divide between man and woman. We have many kinds of divides happening in the world, and believe it or not, it's orchestrated. Yes, an orchestration that has now become independent and automated, and it's running on its own, destroying those that will allow themselves to be destroyed by it. I once recently was in the shoes of hate, seeing examples of the opposite gender. But today, understanding the woes and the gals and the deceits and the plans of the enemy, you want to say to yourself, man, woman, I put down the hate today. I say no more will I be deceived by the enemy. I say today, I am making a decision to be a new being, growing beyond that hate, standing tall in everything that is right, walking strong in the spirit of uprightness. Today, stand up and say, I refuse to hate. I refuse to be separate from the very, very being that is one with me. Today, if you're feeling hate, say no more. We are meant to be together. We are meant to live together. We are meant to love one another. It's a hard thing, and I know sometimes people do things that really eats you up. But why don't we make a stand today and say, this separation no more? Why don't we sit down as a group, as a collective, and say, okay, we have grievances. We must admit we have been deceived. Let us begin to fix. Let us begin to dialogue and see the difficulties. Let us intentionally put that away and say, okay, in this space of discussion, we will no longer feel that sourness of disgust and hate. It is hard, especially those that have been dealt with by the opposite gender. Yes, male and female. As a male, I have had my own fair share of suffering, and I know also the females have. But if we burn, if the fire continues to burn, it only brings greater destruction. So, what do you say? Truce? Yes, of course. Hello, I'm here before you. Hopefully you would give me your audience and your time. It's ridiculous. As a content creator, one would think that things that have reason, things that contribute to the growth or the mental development of people would actually be the very thing that would gain the traction in today's world. But it seems because I do not understand it seems to me that the algorithm, the mysterious bold algorithm, seems to prioritize foolishness, stupidity. And sometimes I would be honest, it can be good to pass the time with some level of humor, but there's some things that are just, you would agree, this is where people say, I can't believe I just wasted 3 minutes of my time or 3 seconds of my time just watching that, hoping to get something substantial at the end, or this content might be leading to some place. But it seems to have no destination, and sometimes it ends up in foolishness. Why? What is going on? It seems there's an orchestration, don't you think? There is a gigantic entity that seems to be constructing the framework, reorienting the minds to a very puny, minute, reducing our minds to the point where stupidity is what projects. Stupidity and foolishness is what we hear. Doesn't it seem like that sometimes? The things that people need to hear, the reasonings, it takes longer. There was once a time where wisdom was celebrated, but I'm here, a wandering mind, a striving mind to be righteous. I'm here to bring, hopefully, some reason to you. I'm here to reignite that sense of reasoning of things, deeds, actions that actually will contribute to growth, development, and things that would actually fix the world, because there's so much stench around, so much. How did we fall down so far? I ask you, how did we get here? Hi there. Hopefully, you would be willing enough to listen to me, or listen to the stranger that is before you. Now, I know we are in a system, a society, or a time, or a generation that has everyone inundated with sexual immorality, promiscuity, everything that is immoral, lustful that you can think about. We are every day bombarded, and it's so difficult for the mind to think without wondering. So, I know this is the reality, but hopefully, like myself, you have something you fear. And I speak to you not as one that has totally purged myself of this temptation, because it's all around. Look at it. Everywhere you turn, every screen you look at. You wake up one day looking to watch something to pass the time, and it just comes up in your face, and it causes you to wonder. Your mind strays so far, and you begin to think. Reflect on those things you never had intentions to reflect on. You wanted to have a constructive reasoning or a time to yourself. But it seems that the devil and the enemy, the Satan, as we call him, as we know him, seems to be walking around the clock, looking, searching. How can I take this one down? Yes, how can I bring him down? He's decided to walk in the path of righteousness, but yes, this flesh is his weakness. How do I take him down? He invades your space. He invades your time, your thoughts, without permission. Such a wicked creature. Now, like you, I'm not immune to these things, but I constantly purge my mind. And when I fall, I come back to the Father and say, God, forgive me, for I have sinned. A righteous man falleth 7 times, and he shall rise again. Today, it's hard, I know. Give yourself a timeline. Give yourself a period. A time to fast away. Even if it's 2 days and you fall, 3 days and you fall, pick it up again and practice. And like all things, it becomes second nature with practice. My friend, my brother, my sister, I speak to you today. If you are like me and you want to make the kingdom in this wicked and sinful, detestable world we live in, if you want to make it, make that change and make that firm decision today. I did it. I'm not fully resolved, but I'm still doing it. So you can do it. I believe in you. Hi there. Hello, of course. I'm talking to you. Don't swipe. Try to stick around and hear what I have to say. Okay? Today I'm just here with an idea as something you might want to consider. So, what is that idea today? I want to encourage you to start looking into self-sufficiency. For the times ahead are very, very bleak. You want to be prepared. You want to reorient your minds to survive the trials that are coming. And I want to encourage you to stand strong. But first, you must first of all accept this possibility. I know with advancement of those who are in the advanced areas, you might have the sense or start to believe to think that this only gets better. No, it doesn't. I don't mean to sound pessimistic. I don't mean to sound like that. But I just want to encourage you. Now, let's say peradventure there's any iota of truth in what I'm telling you today. Is it not wise to play it safe and say, okay, peradventure this stranger on your screen is right? Why don't you make the effort to prepare for you and your family? And of course, in all kinds of preparations, I'm a man of God, and I would like to say the best form of preparation is really repenting and coming to God. And I don't want to make this a sermon because I know how many people hate that if that is put forward first. But let's stay within the logic. Let's say I'm right. Would you want to risk the well-being of yourself and your family? Or would you stand to see those you care about for your lack of preparation? Now, what I'm telling you is the truth. You have to decide to make that stance today. Make those steps today. No matter how much you earn, set a little aside. Something is better than nothing, don't you think? That simple preparation that could get you to point A and from point A to point B. Don't you think that might serve enough for you to have a chance of survival? Let's say I'm right. Why don't you prepare? So, I don't mean to scare you, but the world, if you look at the plans and the legislations, global legislations involved or taking place, you would see that there is something on the horizon. Look at the disasters. You would see there is something on the horizon. Prophecy has foretold. You would be unwise to not take heed. Hey there, that's you. Today I'm a bit gentle. Yeah, I just want to speak to you about forgiveness. It is something I have personally dealt with. It is something that took me a long time, and sometimes I still struggle. I just want to really encourage you today that you should take that bold step to really try to be intentional about forgiveness, about especially managing anger. Yeah, because this spirit, believe it or not, this tendency, is a demon that's in you, and it whispers, making you to forget brother, friend, family, forget the experiences you lived with this person who your anger or hate is directed towards. And of course, it kills you too, because each time you see this person, you just want the worst for this person. Every time you look at this person smile, it irritates your soul. But remember, you are the one being irritated, slowly dying away as the demon feeds you to eat yourself up in hate and irritation, unable or ashamed to voice out your feelings. Or maybe not being so bold enough, but you feel so much pain that you want to speak, but maybe your surrounding is not allowing you to speak. But the hate and the anger just eats you up, destroys you, slowly kills you. Say to yourself, it's enough. If not for the fear of God, but for the fear of your own life. If you wouldn't fear God at this time when you see the world disintegrating and being destroyed, but at least for yourself, think about your health. Because this feeling, this emotion, are precisely, well put, this demon and spirit eats you up. It seeks to destroy your very being. It seeks to kill you. I know, because I've lived through it. And trust me, it was a big battle, and sometimes still is, because it comes every now and then. It wiggles its little head, trying to creep its way back into my soul. But I say no. Today, I want you to say no with a stern voice and a decisive look. Enough is enough. Hi there. I'm here again. So I don't know if I've ever come upon your feed before, but now that you're here, I'll ask that you take the time to listen to me. Now, I don't know how old you are or what stage in life you're in, but hopefully you are, I wouldn't say hopefully, maybe this can be an opportunity for change for you. So I want to speak to you about duty, okay? And more so, duty can be, it's multifaceted. You have different levels of duty, and more so, if we were to quantify the type of duty, I would say moral duty, okay? And if this is moral duty, what kind of moral duty am I speaking about? Okay, so I'm speaking about the duty to your parents, okay? And definitely, this is something that bizarrely seems to be changing. Many years back, I would say about 20 years back, people understood the duty to parents. People understood that they owe their parents, especially in old age, the care and the support, the maximum they can based on their capacity. They do intently want to be present to help out, understanding that with age comes some level of dependence, depending on how that parent lived their life, in the sense of how cautious were they with their health during that time. So in any case, old age comes with some level of degradation in terms of self independence, right? So they become more dependent. So you as a child, you shouldn't be wicked or inhumane enough to forget the fact that you were brought into the world by these people. If they didn't give you the best, but at least they gave you the minimum to survive. So I want you to really speak to your conscience today. And I know we live in a world that is so individualistic, and myself, that's all we ever think about. And we feel that we don't owe anyone jack, especially the fact that the world is becoming more expensive and more difficult to live in. Why don't we represent that force of change, or that opposition to the heavy wave of the sea of wickedness and selfishness? Why don't we go against the grain and become that change and be an example? Hopefully, there might be some that might grow a conscience, witnessing what we're all about and this change we're trying to effect, and in fact, change their ways as well. That's my 2 cents today. Have a nice day. Hi there. Probably this is the first time you'll see me on your feed, and maybe this might be a second or a third time. I don't know, but I'm here. And I have something new today, and I want to speak about honesty, a dying trait. We have a lot of issues today, whether in the workplace, in a business, or in society at large, where people have forsaken the standards and the divine principle of honesty and staying true to what is good and staying true to your words, and of course, being good and just with your dealings. This is a trait that is fast disappearing in this world and this times we find ourselves today. And I want to speak to you. Although it might seem that the dishonest seems to be making it, we can say in quotes, or maybe thriving, but I want to assure you today that if you maintain honesty, first of all, you would save yourself from the judgment that would catch up with those who have been dishonest through the years in the future. Because the word says, he that soweth, whatever you sow, you reap. Okay? So if you want to reap good things, you want to stay true to the standard of honesty, right? Because eventually you might think you might be doing something and you might feel that you're really sharp about it. But what's going to happen is that you're going to find yourself in a situation in the future, whether with yourself or with your kids, your offspring with ties into you, and you're going to be so perplexed at the complexities and difficulties you're experiencing in that time, but failing to trace it back to that one dishonesty, that one theft, that one transgression which you did against someone who was fair to you, someone who left you in the place of confidence, but you chose to steal, you chose to rob. Yeah. So, don't you feel that the judgment of the world, or the judgment which you face in the world to be precise, and the divinity and the righteous judgment of God which is falling upon you at that time in life, don't you feel that you justly deserve that? So, if you want to save yourself today, you want to be mindful of this trait. You want to uphold a trait that would save you, or that would keep you in the times of difficulty, in the times when you set up your own and hope for the very best. Stand true to your words and stand true to honesty, because that will get you through a lot. And of course, it might seem long, for we have many sharp guys running around stealing and robbing, but eventually you will find value, or you would find someone in a situation that would value you so much and place you in a high position, and then and there you would be grateful. Believe me. Hey you. Yes you. Of course I'm on your feed today, and I'm just here passing by, as I do every now and then, to speak to you, to have a discussion. Yes. Don't you think it's high time we as humans sat down to really have a discussion? Don't you think it's that time where we need to sit and really reflect and think to ourselves and ask the most important and pertinent question, which is, how did we get here? How did we descend so far, so much so that we do not think of the next man? How did we disintegrate so much that we have become less than beasts, so much so that the animals have more compassion than us? How did we fall to this level of degradation? Don't you think it is time to sit down? Don't you think it is time to really reflect upon these things and really try to start making the amends to fix the society, to make a better place for yourself and your children? Yes, people have hurt you in the past, but what do you say to now? What do you speak to the present? Can't we change this? Doesn't it begin with you and I? Yes, myself as well. But you, irrespective of the damages, irrespective of the pains, I have decided to start this day a mission to begin and to push and to speak to those who will have an ear to listen. Don't you feel we need each other? Don't you think the destruction has already been done? Have we not been so separated enough that we are so destroyed individually? Is it not time to wake up and rise to the occasion and really say, enough is enough? It is time. We've killed, we've plundered, we've done more than enough to destroy the state of who we are. Can't we rise beyond the occasion? Can't we stand today and say, yes, today we shall rise, today we shall stand tall and be more? Be that very being which the Most High God intended. Yes, I said God. Who are we? How did we come to be? Explosion? Do you really believe life is produced through explosion? Do you really believe in the Big Bang Theory? Look at the design around you. What do you say? Do you think it's by chance? Do you feel we just surfaced without any intentions? From a higher, stronger, indestructible being? And if indeed we came from a being, don't you think that he has a purpose for us? Think and make amends. Hi there. I'm here to talk to you about a subject I have titled What If? Of course, I'm just a random guy in your feed that is begging you to lend me your ears. Yes. And of course, since the subject is titled What If, these are the wanderings of my mind. So I want to ask you, what if? What if families stuck together? What if? What if people loved one another sincerely? What if there were no grounds for an individualistic mindset? Do you think that if we at least kept these frameworks or these rudiments that at some point existed, we had some level of communal living where we prioritized the collective? Yes, divide and conquer is no more a mystery. This is the very reality we live, wherein a certain group have decided to come together and have decided to tear the very fabric of the peace and unity that once was between humans. Yeah, fine, there was some fracas every now and then, but at least one thing existed: the love of family, the love of community, where the collective band together, came together, walked together against a common threat. Now we have been so divided that we do not care for the next man. What if we went back to the past? What if we put aside some differences and come to a common ground? Don't you think that we will be able to have a stronger defense? Don't you think that we would stop being singled out and being destroyed? Don't you think that we would have our defenses, because we will be the defense of the next man, and the next man will be my defense and your defense? Don't you think that that is possible? Don't you want to have a more secure environment for your children? Don't you want that? What if we tested this plan? What if we looked into this? What if we explored this option? What if, although it's estranged from us, what if we intentionally try to look at the past and review old journals and try to work together? What if this works and fixes the problem? Hi there, I trust you're doing well. Now, I know my face may be random. You don't know me, but I'm hoping that my words today would resonate with you. I was provoked in my spirit and I said to come here and make just a brief speech. I don't know. My audience, I'm pretty new here, but I guess I'm hoping that you would listen. The question is, how far are you willing to sell your dignity, standing and reputation, your honor for money? I see a lot of unspeakable things on social media, all manners of things despicable, all to drive traction. And I have spoken on this subject earlier, and it seems that people will sell themselves to do anything, and it means that people will be quick to acquiesce. I'm starting to think that social media is a study of how people can accept and compromise certain values for money. So if they can do that for money, how much more for safety or promised safety? Because really, there isn't no real safety in this world. So I'm here to ask, how senseless are you willing to become for money? How senseless are you willing to dance and sing, stupidly doing actions with those, I would say, some may have talent, some may not. Okay, how senseless are you willing to become? I saw something on social media the other day, and I saw grown men and women dancing partly naked. I saw them wearing pampers, grown men and women behaving like babies, all for traction, all for views, and I was grieved in my spirit. The things I witness on social media are very difficult to say, very difficult to speak about. Can you imagine a full-fledged man acting like a fool publicly with his wife? I like to describe this sort of people, calling them lazy minds, shamelessly taking the easy way out. Now, is content a bad thing? No, definitely not. I am doing content right here. But I'm looking to add to humanity. I'm looking to build, construct, develop. And when you look at all the kinds of content that should be appreciated, you can see a real effort in creativity, not foolishness. Hi there. Today I want to talk to you about preparing to serve God, the Most High, our Creator, and the challenges that comes with that. I just want you to know that it may seem very difficult at the start because the enemy is lurking. The enemy wants you back. So by the time you make this decision, you feel that you've been through life and you want some understanding in life, and then it comes to your being to say, okay, today I'm choosing to serve the Most High. Today I'm choosing to walk with God. I need you to know that you need to prepare yourself for temptation. Now, what is this temptation? I recently wrote a short draft on how temptation takes many forms. It could be in the form of your old devices, in the sense that things that you might be given to in the past before this new decision to walk with the Most High. It can come in form of frustration, pain, and sorrow. But I want you to know that is the devil in his many forms, trying to rattle you and shake you like he did Job. So, please, have it in mind that this walk isn't easy. Many times we expect that the moment we turn to the Most High, that things should work easily. That you find that the opposite is the case, because the enemy, as we know, is like a roaring lion seeking whom he may destroy. So, in this journey, you need to put your heart aright. You need to confidently and constantly endure, and do not be troubled in times of rattle, okay? In the times that you feel that you're being shook by the enemy, where it seems that everything seems to be going out of place. That is the devil trying to reel you in. Do not let him take charge of your life again. Say no and stand firm in this new decision you've made. A good decision. Cleave unto the Most High, stay with him, and never go away from him. In this way, at the end, like Job, you may be increased. So in any case, in any situation, whatever comes before you as a challenge, take it joyfully. And of course, patience is an important virtue when things seems to be going very bad. And this is my piece for you today. Remember, we are like gold tried in the fire to be pure and perfect, shining. Hello, trust you're doing well. I would like for you to take some time to listen to me. Now, we've had so many false claims of the rapture, and even up until recently, if I'm not mistaken, on social media, many false prophets, or people I would say, who fail to study to show themselves approved, touted September 23rd as the rapture. I'm sure those people are still there. We are still here. Why? Because no such event happened. The rapture doctrine itself, it is a false doctrine. The false rapture doctrine was taught to you for 3 reasons. 1, to have you not recognize who the true beast spoken of is, which is in fact, believe it or not, a nation, not some mystical creature. 2nd, to have you take the mark and make excuses for it, because the so-called rapture of the church hasn't occurred yet, so you think yourself safe. And of course, thirdly, the more this is touted and spoken of and fails, it discourages and eventually discredits the faith. To you blind, lukewarm Christians that refuse to ask for wisdom and read the word for yourselves, diligently invested and praying for the Holy Spirit to lead you to all truth, the beast's monetary system is being set up before your eyes. CBDCs, anyone? E-money? Digital currencies? Tied to your digital ID. And you, hypocrites, in your stupor, continue in blindness. When would you wake up? When would you read for yourselves? And when would you understand? When you read in the writings of Paul, he tells you that the beast or the Antichrist is already here and working. What nation existed in the time of Paul? And what nation exists now? As a matter of fact, has its church to be the strongest church in the world. I leave you with this piece. It's a puzzle.